Hi, folks. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the session. All right, so let's get going. Um, let's get going, guys. Hey, lad, Henry, Ronati, Raul, Lynn, Amina, Deliana. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the session. So let's get going in just a few minutes here. Um, So today we're going to talk about statistics, mostly statistics, some word problems from statistics. Last on Monday we did talk about statistics. The first part, mean, median, mode, range. So people in my bootcamp who weren't able to attend it, I've sent you the video recording. Today's session as well is video recorded. Um, so let's get going real quick. We're going to talk about three important topics here. One is, of course, sampling, experimental design. Another one is going to be probability, all of these type of questions, right? What's the probability of something? They give you a table. And also, we're going to talk about scatter plots. Okay, so let's get going with all of these ideas. Before we start, let me just introduce myself. My name is Ash, and this is the 20-hour SAT bootcamp. So in this bootcamp, we have 10 hours of instructional classes, and today's topic is scatter plots and probability. Um, okay, yeah, last class was on Monday. We talked about mean, median, mode, range, and the next class is going to be about word problems, a very important topic as well. We'll be covering that on Friday. Okay, so how the class works is, hey Nigel, is we're gonna talk about some problems here. We're gonna talk about um, important pieces of the problem where I'll explain the theory to you, and then we'll talk about some shortcuts and some ways to solve it, and then everybody can start solving it. Okay, so maybe the most important, easiest part is scatter plots, right? As you know, scatter plots are super easy. You've got pieces over here. You've got the x-axis and the y-axis here. Um, right? And you're going to have various points. The most important part is what's the trend? What's the trend to this, right? So this is clearly an upward trending. So Henry, yeah, sure, you can take notes. The session is, by the way, recorded, Henry. So you're going to get the full recording of it. But yeah, of course, you can. You want to take any notes, if you want to take a screenshot of it, whatever, be my guest. Okay, but you're going to get the video recording anyway to watch. Okay, so I would say um, the understanding this trend is super important. So this is very easy. This is positive trend, right? There's a negative trend as well. That's going to be easy. They're probably not going to ask you a question like this, right? This is negative, obviously, and then there's like almost like a dispersed structure here. That's going to be no trend, right? The most important part though, and we covered that last time as well, is if you've got a trend, it depends like how strong it is. So let's say, look at this trend. This is a positively correlated trend, right? You draw a line through this, and we're going to learn how to, what the slope, etc. is. But compare this trend to this kind of a trend, right? This is also a positive trend, right? But it's kind of like a bit farther away, right? So how you determine it is you draw a line around it, right? This one is super thin, right? And this one is thicker, right? So if it's thicker, this one is more positive, okay? Or you can also say more positively correlated. Okay, you can also think about it this way. So you draw a line and how thick this is, right? This is thicker. There's a way to think about it. It's called R squared, but the SAT never asks about that. Okay, so super simple. Let's get started with a problem here. You have seen this problem probably before, but try to solve it over here. Okay, which of the following graphs shows the most negative trend? Okay, let me just pull this down here so you can see it. Okay, so the same thing, right? Super easy. I know this is a super easy question for most of you. Um, right, very good. So let's see how you do this. Okay, so again, whenever I see a trend, I kind of draw a straight line. You don't have to always draw a straight line, but for SAT, it works very well, right? So all you got to do is just draw a straight line here. It could be kind of like this. This is actually kind of moving like this, right? So it's kind of like two lines here in a way, okay? Or another line over here, right? This is this over here, and then you've got this particular. Now, all you've got to do is you got to think about this thing over here, how much thicker it is compared to this guy here, right? So this is clearly thinner. So this is D over here, right? So that's the logic. It's pure visual art, right? Just looking at the trends, pure visual art. So that's why D is the correct answer. Very, very easy, I know. Okay, but still, people get confused about it. Okay, so if you want more problems, I've got complete drills, right, where you can work on these scatter plot problems. Okay, let's look at another problem here. Now let's try to understand the other type of scatter plot problems, right? And again, we've done some of these problems before. So what's going on there is you are given a particular another trend here, a positive trend, right? A positive trend, and you are given the x-axis and the y-axis, and you're told that for a certain amount of x, right? So let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. And then here you're given 10, 20, 30, whatever the scale is, I don't care, right? And they're asking you for the value of when x is equal to 6, what is the value of y, right? Um, Great. Wow. Good speed, Nigel. Yeah, as soon as I spoke, you're ready. Nigel's on a roll. All right, so it's 40-ish, right? So you can take it over here, so this point, and then you can move it. Yeah, 40, 45, right? Depends. Like if you're visually seeing it, they're not gonna confuse you. They're not gonna say like, oh, is it 40, 45, 50, right? That happens in ACT, but SAT, it's super easy. They're either gonna be 40 or there's 55, whatever, right? So be careful. I think the best thing also is kind of like, if it's 7, you can kind of like draw a line here and then here. Okay, it's 55, right? Super easy. You can visually see it as well. Okay, very easy. Now be careful. Sometimes they might also ask if y is equal to 30, then what is x equal to? If y is equal to 30, right? Then x is equal to 4, right? Very easy, very, very easy to do it. Okay, so if y is equal to 30, x is equal to how much? Okay, so that's perfect. Now let's try another problem. Let's see how we can work off of um, this problem. Okay, so let's try this problem, but I'm gonna twist it. I'm gonna not. This problem is for homework, but I'm gonna change the numbers on this. Okay, because some of us have already seen these problems, so it might get a bit right repetitive. So I'm gonna change the numbers on it, and let's see what problem, how we can understand, like how the SAT can kind of like change the problem on you, right? Even when you know it. So let's think about it this way. So you can read the problem when it pops up on the whiteboard, but we're gonna actually change it. Um, Travel by passengers was estimated to be not 550 billion. So I'm gonna change this number here, 550, and then these answers are wrong. This, of course, you're gonna get the sheet so you can practice it yourself. By the way, this is a real SAT problem here, right? So not 550, but maybe something like 400. Okay, so see how what time, what year would that be? Okay. All right. Good guesses. Very nice. Very cool. Lad, Amina, Raul, Henry, Hashim, Anika, Lad, Pranati, Devon, Lynn, Deliana, Nigel, Hamza. Excellent. Excellent. Yogi, Devon. All right. So great. So 400, right? So simple. All you got to do is draw a line here to this line. Okay. Don't draw a line to a point. So if it's asking, don't draw it to here, right? Draw it to the line, right? Because that's your estimate, and then come down exactly over here. So you can easily see, right? So this is 1992 through 1995, right? Somehow I'm not able to draw it very well, but here it is, 1990 to 1995. So this piece, this point over here, right? So this is 1990 to 1995. So it's somewhere in the middle, right? That much, they're not going to ask you to do more than that, okay? Yes. Yes, Bunty. So that's important, right? So 1990 to 1995. So the other problem here, you can check it. I'm going to give you this sheet, right? This sheet contains all of the problems, the most important problems that you need to know for your SAT test, okay? And it's got the actual problem. So try to solve it. If you have difficulty, just let me know. Now, the other problem that we're going to look at is this particular problem over here. Let's try this problem now. Coming up in just a quick second. So now you might need to stretch out this line, okay? So what is, uh, what would be it, what year would it be if it were something like, what year would it be if, sorry, how many miles would be traveled if the year is 2020? Okay, so maybe 2020 is too much. 2015. So 2015 is not even over here, right? Remember, this is 2005, 10. So right over here. Okay, so kind of like stretch it. You can actually, you're on the screen, right? So you can kind of like, draw a line across and don't have to do much. Just have to stretch it across. And this is 2015. So it's going to be right over here, right? So you've got this point here. Now you can clearly move it back, right, somewhere over here, and then you can see it's 650-ish, right? So 600 to 700 works, 650-ish works. All of these values work, right? So 650 to 700 is probably the best number. Okay, so remember, you might need to stretch it, right? It could go crazy, right? It could go like 2030. Then you have to make it like 20, this is 2020, this is 30. So you move it here and then move it back here and then kind of see it, okay? Yes, that's a great skill. That's very good, Pranati. So you can, that's slope, right? You can also think about slope. So we're going to exactly talk about this, right? So you can also think about, right, in from here onwards, how much you're moving, right? So let's say you're moving from here to here in 10 years, right? How much are you moving, right? So you're moving roughly, I would say, about 100 to 150, right? So that also will work, right? So the slope is right over here, right? So you can calculate the slope of it, right? So let's take an example. So this is good. I think you understand this. Now let's look at the next problem. We're going to solve this exact problem using slopes. Okay, so how do you look at slopes? So let's move over here. Very good. Most of you are getting it already. How do you do the slope? So let's take a look at this. I'm just going to stretch this a bit. Now remember, you've got scatter plots, right? And you've got this line. You might be asked to calculate the slope. So let's calculate the slope of this line already. So how do you calculate the slope? Probably take this point here, right? I like this point here, and I kind of like this point over here. Okay, so this is going from 50 to 250, right? And how much is this? Okay, in 15 years, it's going by 250. So your slope is going to be 250 over 15, right? Isn't it? Sorry, 200 over 15, right? So you're going from 50 to 250 in how many years? In like, this is 65 to 80, so in 15 years, right? So that's your exact slope in case you ever want to calculate it. Remember, these are mostly calculator problems, right? So 200 over 15, you can figure it out. You can approximate it eventually to get the answer, right? You get 15-ish. 200 over 15 is 13-ish, right? So that's fine. 13, you can roughly take it to be 15. That works. 10 works, right? So this answer is 15. So what does it mean? So what's the interpretation of this, right? So every year, the number of miles traveled increased by 13 billion. Okay, 13 billion. Wow, that's a lot. 13 billion miles. So every year, every single year, it's moving, right? Remember, this 13 is your rise over run, right? Which is 200 over here. This is 200 divided by 15. That's your rise over run, which is 13.33. That's also your unit rate. What does it mean? How many miles? How many miles per year? Right? Remember that. How many of these per this? Literally, how many number of miles per year? That's going to be your slope. That's also going to be a unit rate. And like Pranati was also saying, so let's say you've got your point here, right? This is going to be roughly 625, right? So the next year it's going to increase by 13 more. So it gives you 625 plus 13. So that gives you 638. That's super accurate, right? So you can think about it this way as well if you want to approximate quite a few things, right? Um, so this is another interpretation, the slope interpretation of it, right? Let's actually try one more problem of this type where let's try to calculate the slope. It's important for us to calculate the slope here. Okay, so without even knowing this problem, let's just calculate the slope of this. Okay, just good practice to understand how to calculate the slope. The lines are just, remember, in this case, when the scatter plots, right, the numbers are not going to be accurate. The SAT is not going to trick you with that. You don't need to know super accurate numbers. Just get a round number between like round it to 10 or 0 or 5, and you should be good. Okay, so try to find the slope of this line now. I kind of like to take the longest points because it's super easy. And imagine this is your calculator section, right? So calculator part, this point, and I would literally take this point here, right? So I've got two coordinates here. I've got 37 comma 120, right? Right, I've got 37 comma 120, and then I've got 33 comma 160. Okay, so you've got these two numbers and try to calculate. Here's my calculator. Super easy to calculate actually. So try to find the slope of this. So how do you do it? 160 minus 120. Remember slope, and this is a whole new section, right? In case you're having trouble with slope, we've done it in a previous class. Like we focus fully on slope and all of these lines, coordinate geometry, etc. But for now, it's going to be the y minus y. So 160 minus 120, which is your rise also, right? This rise, right? So that's 40 over 34 minus 36, right? So 33 minus 37. What am I saying? 33 minus 37. So that's going to be 40 over -4, and I float this negative to the top here. Okay, so I move it over here, and that gives you -10, right? Super easy. Slope is -10. So now let's try some math. Okay, if this slope is 10, okay, and you're given already that this point, whoops, I'm so excited it keeps moving. This point over here is 33 and 160, right? Which means at 33, his rate was 160. Okay, so now how about, can you please tell me what would be the heart rate? What would be the heart rate when the swimming time is equal to 32? Yeah, Hamza, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one is y1 or y2. Yes, Henry, you could do that in the previous problem. This is just a different problem. This problem is actually asking something else, but I just wanted to explain to you how you can also think about it, right? So remember, you're given 160, right? Now from 33, it's going back. And you can literally draw it like this. 33 is going back to 32, right? So 33 is going back to 32. And so 160 is going up to 170. So you're going to add it. Okay, one last one of this type. See if you can do it. What will be the heart rate when the starting swimming time is 30 minutes? That's going to be a crazy heart rate. Okay, so remember, swimming time is 30 minutes. Okay, which means 33, right? You were at 33, so you're going to go back to 30, which means 3 minutes. And every minute it's increasing by 10, right? Because it's going up. 10, 10, 10. So 160, 170, 180, 190, right? So 190 is your number. Okay. So they might ask you something like this. For that, you need to understand what's the slope. Okay. The slope is -10, which means it's going up. If when you go back, of course, it's going down when you move ahead, right? Excellent job. So I think most of you are getting it. Well done, Soli. Well done, Soli, Hashim, Lad, Lynn, Pranati, Amina, Devin, Hamza, Daliana, Nigel. Superb. Wow. Pranati, very good. I think most of you are getting it. Raul, cool. Okay, so well done, Henry. Excellent. So all of these questions are super easy, right? Now let's try the actual problem. What's the actual problem here? Okay, the actual problem is something totally different. And again, I'm going to change it so that you can actually solve this real problem, not with me, by yourself. I'm just giving you a totally different problem. I'm changing it on you so you can actually, when you have time later, you can do this problem by yourself, right? So here's how we'll work on this problem right now. Okay, so you can read the problem. The answers are not going to be relevant because we are going to look at a totally different one. Okay, so for the swim that took, let me see. For the swim that took, um, let's see, 36 minutes. Okay, for the swim that took 36 minutes. Okay, so try to solve this problem now. So remember, 36 is over here, right? So what are you going to do is you're going to take this number and this point here and then find the difference between them. I know it might be a bit hard to see it. If you want, I can zoom in into it. Don't forget what this is. Okay, how much is this? So remember, this is already 10 here, right? So this would be your this. So one more thing I didn't mention is this line over here is your estimate line, right? Your regression line, whatever you want to call it. And this is your actual value. This is the actual or the observed. And this is your estimate. So that means you're going to take this point here. So there's two points here. One is this point, go up, then go up even further. And you just take the difference between these two. Remember, sometimes people make the mistake of counting this as like, oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because each of these units is 2, right? Look, 130 to 140 is 10. That means this guy is not 1, it's 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? So that's why it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's something like 9-ish, right? Very good. Whoever got 9 to 10. 10 works, 9 works, somewhere between 9 and 10, even 8 works. Okay, so remember that. Be careful. I know you guys can do it. Whenever you see the next problem, you're going to solve this problem. Another, right? Like you have this sheet here. I'm going to give this sheet to most of you, to everybody, people in my bootcamp for sure, but even those who are already in the for the trial session, right? So try this problem yourself and see how things work out. By the way, on Friday, we're going to cover word problems. Okay, word problems is massively important. We're going to cover some really important types of word problems, starting from the very basics, linear equations. I know some of you are asking questions about linear equations, ZXB, and people in my bootcamp, so we're going to work on that. Linear equations, rates problems. Again, we're going to review that. That's another favorite topic of the SAT. And a few challenge problems, percents, gears, maybe a gear problem one more time, some shortcuts also I'll show you, okay? So all of this is going good so far. Let's now do, trying to think what's the next thing we can do. So this is good. This is a nice shortcut. Let me show you a quick shortcut for this, okay? So to answer the shortcut, first of all, let's think about it like this. Let's say you've got some points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? And then you've got maybe you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, okay? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, okay? And then you've got some points here. Let's say you've got a point here, okay? Let's say you've got a point here. Let's say you got a point here, you got a point here, and you got a point here, okay? Now, let's say this is the age, and this is the height of something, some kind of an animal, whatever, some species, right? And now they're asking you which point here, right? Different A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E. They're asking you what is the ratio height over age, right? Height over age. Which point, A, B, C, D, or E, A, B, C, D, or E, has the highest ratio, height over age? The ratio is height over age. So how do you find that? Okay, how do you calculate it? So there's a shortcut for that. But before that, the easiest way is, of course, the simplest, the straightforward way is, of course, you take E, then you take this and take the divide it, right? So remember, this is going to be like 28, and this is going to be 5.5. You take the ratio of it, 28, 5.5, right? I see most of you have followed. I'm very happy the shortcut from last time, so you immediately remember it, right? Then there's another ratio here, right? Oh, you take the y coordinate and y coordinate, but the shortcut is to realize that this height over age, think about it for this one. It's this guy, the height over the age, right? So it's actually the slope, right? So you connect it this way, right? And we're going to look at a problem very similar to this. Height over age is actually rise over run here, right? So the rise over run, that means all they're asking is, just forget about this ratio. They're asking which of these points has the highest slope. So you just connect this, connect this, connect this, connect this, and connect this. Of course, you got to connect it from the origin, right? So now, can you tell me which point has the highest slope? Clearly, A has the highest slope, right? And so A is going to be, even though it doesn't look like it, it's got the steepest slope. Well said, Hamza, right? You find the steepest line. Yes, you find the steepest line. That's going to be your highest slope here. That's going to be your biggest ratio, right? It's just the height over age, just the way they set it. It's the height is this and the slope is this, which is also your y coordinate right away, or your rise over run, right? So, so the ratio is equal to slope here. Yes, the ratio is just equal to slope. That's how they're defining it, right? The height over age. Okay, so it could save you so much time, right? But you need to see, you need to connect these two ideas, right? You don't have to like mindlessly keep calculating it. Okay, as soon as you spend like more than 2 minutes on a problem and you're not getting it, remember there's a shortcut to it. Okay, some of the problems you got to work on it, but there's a shortcut to it. Okay, so now with this information, try to solve this problem. Okay, I'm gonna pull this first. Okay, let me just fill this out here. And there you see, right, all these scatter plots. I think Vic was saying it last time, or someone else was saying it, right? Those longer, sometimes the problems are just too wordy, right? Just a headache to solve these problems. So you just need to kind of like identify what problem the SAT has asked before and be mindful of it. Okay, so without even reading, some people are solving it, and that's the correct answer. Very good. But yeah, if you want to read, here's a problem. So look, here they're asking the ratio of life expectancy to gestation period, right? Life expectancy to gestation period, right? So that means the rise, if you take this point, rise over the run, that means your slope, right? So now all you got to do is just find the one which is the highest slope, right? You can see this one. And remember, this is starting from 0, 10, right? So in reality, this is going to be the 0 point is going to be over here. Remember that. Okay, this is your origin, right? This is your origin. Nigel is the next Rosie. All right. And Pranati as well. Okay. All right. So great. So so here it is, right? So these points here, right? And so you can see A is the highest slope, right? So A is the highest slope. Now, great question, Hamza. So what happens if it's swapped, right? So what does it mean? So this is clearly easy. Which represents the animal for which the ratio of gestation period to life expectancy, right, is the highest, right? So in this case, it's rise over run, right? It's run over rise. So here it's kind of flipped. So in that case, you need to find this value here, right? That's going to be your smallest slope. So if it's flipped, you find the opposite way, Hamza. Okay, you find the opposite way. But that's not as important as the actual problem. So this one is super easy. I think you guys got it. The answer is A, right? Very easy to solve. Just imagine how hard it would be to think about these problems and solve it, right? So every time you save, like, this is like a 30-second problem. I call it like a 30-second problem. And if you become super trained in SAT, like there will be out of 58 questions, you should be able to solve 30 problems in 30 seconds. Okay, you should just identify them. Wow, I know how to solve this problem. I know how to solve some problems you can solve in like 10 seconds flat. Some problems you'll take 45 seconds, but you need this particular piece. Okay, so you need you need to solve 30 problems in 30 seconds. That's crazy. That's like 15 minutes. Imagine if you can solve 30 problems in 30 seconds, each 30 seconds each, right? So that's 15 minutes, and then you have like tons of time. You got 80 minutes to solve the remaining, like whatever, 80 minus 15 minutes, right, to solve the remaining problems. So to do that, you need to work on, need to work on this practice over here, right? And I know some of you are like opening 2 or 3 of these, right? So something like this, we worked on this problem. This is actually going to be in the word problems module on Friday, right? So these problems are so important. They're marked at like 45 seconds, which already puts you in that mindset to start solving these problems super fast. It's got the hints, it's got the answers, it's got everything, so you can start solving it and you'll understand how to solve it, right? So this is a super important um, way to think about it. Wow, well done, Pranati, Lynn, superb. So some people are lad, great. So some people are already actually getting it right within 45 seconds. People in the boot camp, well done, Devin. Okay, yeah, it's coming tomorrow, Hamza, or day after. Okay, so this is another problem, right? This is a polynomial problem. So all of these problems you just need to keep working on, and if you want, you can always reset the problem here, right? Yes, you can choose the music as well. Yes, it's got I'm going to put in some forced music. I know some people are choosing it. There's like a classical music, and it's got, what else do we have? It's got that other part. So remember, you've got all of these questions over here. Plus, we've got, don't forget the other piece, which is SAT practice. Now I can't seem to find it. SAT 20 practice. Remember, we've also got some pieces here. Um, yeah, forest music should help, right? Well done, people who are actually solving it. So remember, some of these sections, they're so important. I've pulled them into their own quizzes, right? So you can work on these as well, right? This one is a bit slower, but it's once you understand how to solve it, it becomes super easy. So all of these questions, right? I didn't make them up. These questions are based off of the SAT questions, and every time you solve it, this number changes. So there's infinite questions for you. Just keep working on it, and people's scores have improved like crazy, right? Every second or third time we see expo marker. Yes, those are some good markers. um, so so yeah, so these problems, all of these are very, very important. So guys, people in my bootcamp, please try to solve it. And people who are just new to my bootcamp, also, yes, this is what you get as part of the bootcamp, right? Let's move on to the next part of the puzzle. Okay, so all of these problems are here for you to solve. Okay, there are more problems here in the scatter plots. These are again all picked up from the previous publicly available tests, right? Standard deviation, I believe we did yesterday. Um, Even something like this. This is really a scatter plot problem, okay? Even though it looks like a functions problem, very easy to solve. Um, okay, very good. Wow, good speed. Excellent. Excellent. Wow, this is superb. Yes, it's actually -3. Okay, so that's an important problem. Um, good, lad. This is a good problem. Again, this looks like a scatter plot, but it's actually just lines. Okay, it just lines. sorry, it looks like functions problem, but it's actually just scatter plot. Okay, all of these problems super important. Okay, so now let's go to the next part of the puzzle, which is experimental design and surveys and all of these ideas. Okay, so these are again word problems, right? You just need to identify some ideas within them. Okay, the most important idea is going to be the most important idea is great lad. So the most important idea is this idea of randomness. Okay, and there are two important ideas of randomness you need to figure out to understand. The most important idea of randomness is that if you've got something in a particular state, for instance, okay, various parts of the state have to be represented. Okay, all the parts of the state have to be represented. Okay, so let's say you are taking a survey of the various high schools in a state. All of the high schools in the state, or at least in different parts of the state, you need to take care of them. Okay, you need to survey them. You go there and ask them. You just cannot go to one high school and ask 5,000 students. You'd rather go to each high school and ask just 5 students, right? That's much better. So there's a kind of like you need to represent everything. Okay, okay, yes, it takes time. I know what you're saying, Pranati. It's so you've got okay. So randomness, it represents everything. Okay, it needs to represent everything. Now what you can do is you can ask the people to take the survey and then email it out. And then you can collect it, and nowadays in the, of course, right, you can collect it and then you can crunch numbers here easily. Okay, so that's the first part. And then the second part is that you need to understand the idea of uncertainty. Okay, there's a big topic, right? In finance. I was on Wall Street before. Uncertainty is a massive important topic because the stock market can go up and down anytime, right? But there's a certain rule to the uncertainty. It's called volatility. Okay, we don't need to talk about it, or also called standard deviation, right? If you're interested in finance, right, chat up with me. I'll give you some ideas. But uncertainty is super important, and which means that, yeah, it's crazy, right? Yes, that used to be my profession maybe like 15 years ago. So uncertainty, that means that no matter what you do, how you interpret the stats, there's always going to be uncertainty. Okay, even if you say like 99% of the people say that they like math, right? Still, there's going to be a lot of people who won't, right? So there's even 99 out of 100 people say that there's a great deal of uncertainty in that remaining 1%. Okay, the way you design your experiment, etc., etc., etc. So never be absolute. There's no real absolute answer when you do stats. Okay, so with that, let's try a particular problem. Let's try this problem over here. It's one of my favorite problems. Okay, try this problem, number 7. Okay, some of you have already done it. I'm not going to change the numbers on it. It's good to just look at the problem and try it again. And the main idea is this is a great problem because we're going to look at this problem and we're going to figure out how to think about it. Okay, so see if you can answer why each of these is wrong. So good, I'm super impressed by people, and these are all in my boot camp, right? Who are answering it. Maybe we've answered it before also a bit, but let's try to exactly right. So it's most random, but why are the others not random? Okay, so let's think about that. Okay, so let's see what's going on first of all. Okay, it's for the people who are new. Let's talk about it. Retail company has 50 large stores located in different parts through the state. So very similar to what we were talking about before. This is a state, the square state, and let's say these are your retail company stores, right, all through the state, and it's got 50 of them, right? I'm just drawing some of them. Okay, so now believes that so employee job satisfaction varies greatly from store to store. Which of the following is most appropriate, right? So select one of the random stores at one of the 50 stores at random, and then survey each employee at that store. Survey each employee at that store, right? Yes. So why do you so take one over here, right? So why do you think choice A is incorrect? selecting one of the 50 stores at random and then surveying each employee at that store. First of all, doesn't make sense to survey each employee at the store. It's too takes too long. So yes, it's only one store. Maybe it's a store over here, right? And something's happened in this part. Maybe this is like in a forest area, or this is like in a super urban area, right? Could be anything. It doesn't represent the entire state, right? It doesn't represent the entire state. Okay, it's like I live in New York City. It's like somebody asked somebody at this corner of the New York State about something, and I'm living over here somewhere. It really doesn't represent us. Okay, so something like that. So that's why this is gone. Second one, select 10 employees from each store. That's great. I like it. I like this word each, right? Each store. Okay, so here it is, each store, each store, each store. Go to each store and ask them. So now you're representing them. Not only that, you're selecting like 10 employees. That's not bad. So 50 times 10, right? That's 500 already. Okay, so that's a good number, I would say. So this is a very big maybe. Okay, now surveying the 25 highest paid employees and 25 lowest paid. So can someone please tell me, yes, Soli, I like that. Data is too concentrated. You can say that will as well. That as well. Okay, so can you please tell me why C is incorrect? By the way, the answer is B, but let's see, why do you think C is incorrect? Very good, Pranati. Yes. What happens to the people in the middle, right? The 25 highest, like there are, let's say, and you can take any example you want. There's already 50 large stores, right? So maybe there's like 10,000 people. Out of these 10,000 people, right, the 25 topmost, and these are like the CEOs, they're going to be clearly happy, right? And the people who are the lowest employed, maybe they're interns, they have no clue, or they just don't enjoy the job. So this is going to be like, I don't enjoy it, I don't know. And this is like, I love my job. What about these people in the middle, right? So that's exactly right. So it's a great range. People in the middle are not important. Okay, now D is interesting. D could be true, but I like B more. But why do you think D is incorrect? Creating a website, so be imaginative, kind of, it's like real life, right? Imagine you try to survey your friends, right, at high school. So why creating a website on which employees can express their opinion and use the first 50 responses, is that not good? Very good. People who only have internet access, so only some response can be only from one area. Yes, all of these ideas work, right? Um, that's true. So you don't know, and you're using only the first 50, right? So you're kind of like covering the first 50 and then it's gone. Maybe the people who had the time off during that particular time, right? They do it and the other people are working. So it doesn't represent, it represents only the people who are probably taking their lunch break or something. Maybe it also represents probably people who are at the desk job. Maybe, like there are so many people on the floor who don't have the access to the internet, right, because of their job. So it could like kind of bias the job towards people who are on the desk, right? So be careful about that as well. And then 50 is also a smallish number, right? So compared to these, right, this one is clearly the better one. So think about it. It's, of course, the SAT doesn't expect you to think so much, but once you think about all of these ideas, right, then once you see that real problem, then you can solve it. This is one of those, it's almost like a reading comprehension type of a problem here. Okay. Yes. Yeah, sure. You can think about this one as well, but I would say you need to represent pretty much every single one. Okay, and then you get the answer. Okay, talking about reading, um, right? Um, so I actually created. Yes, Deliana. So everybody was talking about it. So it's at least at the start, it's this kind of a quiz. Okay, so let me just show you what's coming up. Okay, so this is something which is because people were asking about it. So let's see how we can talk about this just for a quick second. I know people are interested in going to the math, but maybe we can talk about this one real quick. So what happens here is, maybe you can think about it like this. Okay, so this is Virginia Woolf, right? It's asking you, what's the meaning of this? Quote quiz. Okay, so this is a quote book. I made like there's 250 of these inside. So see how you can answer this, right? What is the meaning of this? Nothing thicker than a knife's blade, right? So could be hard for you now, but gradually you'll understand what this means, right? something like this. What does this mean, right? What if you can understand what this means, right? Or if this if you can understand what this means, guys, then you're golden, right? This kind of covers what the hardest history, global conversations, right? The paired passages, the literature, it contains everything. So if you can understand these quotes, right, you're golden. So how do you understand these quotes? And again, as usual, I want to put a timer on it, right? I've put a timer on this, 30 seconds only. Okay, if you want a longer timer, let me know. So this is the second one. This one is also funny. See if you can figure this one out. This one is actually slightly easier, again, by Virginia Woolf. So, so this one clearly, right? Like you need to work on it. What she's saying is, um, what she's saying is, yes, I do have some of the meanings, but I think you can think about. So all of these, right? So you can copy and paste them into Google and you can find it out. I'm in the middle of giving you the answers, but think about it like this. I would venture to guess that anonymous. So maybe you've seen some poems which have an anonymous, right? Over here, wrote so many poems without signing them, was often a woman, because in the past women were, it wasn't so easy to yes, you'll be given the recording, Hashim. So it wasn't easy for women to write stuff, so they would kind of write it, because if it's written by a woman, it's kind of like, and this is clearly going on along the topics of this Virginia Woolf woman. As you know, she's like a feminist, and these are the passages, right? Stuff that's related to slavery, the feminist movement, the abolitionists, right? 1776, the Revolutionary War, right? All of these topics are very important. Okay, and this woman is a feminist, right? In maybe 1930s, there's actually a passage of it, and I think I've covered this passage before, right? So try to understand what's going on over here, right? Right? That's one important piece. How about this second one here? So you see how important this can be, because you can understand what the authors are talking about here, right? Nothing thicker than a knife's blade separates happiness from melancholy, right? So melancholy is kind of sadness, right? And this is happiness. So hasn't it happened to you sometimes that something is happy, you're happy suddenly, and then something happened, you're sad, right? Just the twist of something. And then from the sadness, again, you got happy, or, you got excited. So things can keep changing again and again from one point to the other, right? That's what I was saying. The goal of this is to simplify this sentence into something so simple, right? Like some of you have already written it, right? Very small difference between, right, happiness and sadness, right? Between happiness and sadness. That's all. Once you can understand this, right, your mind learns how to process it, then you can learn those big passages, right? They're going to go so easy, because the most important piece is that your passage has only one theme, right? One thesis, especially the global conversations. It's so easy to answer the question, so don't get tired with that, right? It's just one thesis, right? Um, Perfect. So this is good. So all of this is coming to you. I'm going to send it to you. Let's move on to the main piece, right? Which is uh, which is let's try this one. Yes, the little details are important, and the most important thing, the author, right, the authors in the 1700s and 1800s, they were kind of like going round and round and round trying to explain something which was so easy to understand. Right, in the 21st century, we are lucky that things are more clear now. Right, people say what's on their mind. In the past, people use a lot of rhetoric. So you just look at these quotes, and some of them are funny. I've included some Mark Twain quotes, some Oscar Wilde quotes, but I've also included like Thomas Paine, right, and Virginia Woolf. So some of them are serious. I think the people I do one-on-one sessions with, they enjoy it. So I think you will enjoy it as well. Just every time, just like how you do these sessions, just click on it. Like I'll give you the link, just click on it, and you're gonna get it every day. Just do maybe 5 quotes, and you should be good. Just try to think about it, right? What's going on? Try to interpret it, and if you have difficulty, email me. I'll give you the answers. Okay, and then I'll put them in the quote as well. Um, All right, so let's try this one now. Coming back to stats, right? Remember, this is about uncertainty or no absolutes. So anytime there's anything about absolutes, it doesn't work. Okay, and you don't need to read a lot of this. Just from a large population of people with poor eyesight, 300 participants were selected at random. Okay, half were given treatment X and the other did not, right? The resulting data showed that people who received X had significantly improved eyesight, and those who didn't receive, it didn't have as much an effect, right? That's it. That's well done, Hamza. That's all you got to do. You're learning now. You're getting great at this. So now, what's an appropriate conclusion? So out of 300, right? 150 were given and 150 were not given this treatment, right? And this worked out for them. What does it mean? They're likely. Likely is a great word. It's your friend. Okay, likely is a good one. So that's why this is a very good one. And then the second one is improve the sight of people, right? So the word is the next one. Treatment X improves eyesight better than all. That's clearly out. They never ever said anything, right? Um, Treatment, yes. Treatment X, yes, Nigel, me too. Right. So treatment X will improve the eyesight of anyone. So that's clearly wrong. So it's so easy. You can just immediately see these words and just cancel them out, and will cause a substantial. So substantial, they never talk to anything. It could improve even, whatever, like 0.025 or something of your cylinder or whatever, right? Even if it improves, that's it. Okay, just likely to improve the eyesight. They haven't even told how much. It could just be a very small amount. It could be so negligible, it doesn't even matter. But yes, it does improve. So substantial is the reason why this is gone. And that's why A is your correct answer. Okay, so again, no absolutes. Okay, so that's the second part. Remember, the first was representation of everything. And this is the second kind of idea of no absolutes. Okay, so this part is good. Let's move to a probability. Okay, that's another one that needs to be worked on. So probability, right? There are so many things that can be asked about probability, but in probability, there's only one thing that's asked all the time, and this is the thing that you need to master. Okay, the thing that you need to understand is this. Let's say there are boys and girls, and let's say they like history, and they do not like history or hate history, right? Maybe hate history passages from the reading comprehension section. Who knows? Okay, so let's say these are boys and girls. Okay, so how do you do them? Right, these tables here. So remember, there's like a Sudoku kind of principle here. What do I mean by that? So let's say the boys who like history is 10, and then there are boys who hate history is, let's say, 20. Right. So how many total boys do you have? Just add them. Just horizontally add them. That's the number here, and that gives you the number of boys. Super easy, right? Let's take the number of girls now. Okay, so I'm just going to write 30 here. So let's say the number of girls here is 15. 15 girls like history, and let's say maybe 10 girls hate history, right? So how many total girls do you have? 25. Super easy. You just add these, you get this answer, right? Super, super, super easy. Not only that, this is the horizontal addition. Vertical addition is over here. So can you please tell me how many people like history? How many people like history? You just add these two, right? 10 plus 15 is 25, right? 10 plus 15 is 25. And how many people hate history is 30. So you see, this adds up, this adds up, this has to add up, this has to add up, okay? Exactly right. Now, the fun part is at the bottom here, well done, lad. So the bottom part is you add these two, you're going to get 55, 20 plus 30. You add these two, you also going to get 55. It has to. Okay. So this plus this gives you this plus this. And this is like the king or the queen, whatever you want to call it, right? This is the most important number. This is the total number, right? This is the total number. Okay, so before we even solve this, let's try to solve another problem here by using the Sudoku principle. Okay, so let's say you've got another example here. Let's say you've got Okay. Again, let's take boys, girls. Let's say they own dogs and they don't own dogs. Okay. Don't own dogs. Okay. Now, if I told you the total number of boys is 60 and the girls who own dogs is, let's say, 10. Okay. And then you were also told the total number of people is 100, maybe 110. Okay. And you're told one final thing. Let's say um, you're told the number of people, a number of dogs you have. This is 10 here, is, let's say, 40. So let's solve everything now. Okay. Let's try to find, first of all, what is this? Boys who own dogs. Okay. So the boys who own dogs, again, using the Sudoku principle, right? 30, because 30 plus 10 has to be 40, right? Right. That's good. Now, don't own dogs, right? That means 30 plus how much is 60? 30 plus 30 is 60, right? That part is good. Now try to find for this part. How many of these, right? I don't even know what is this. This is don't own dogs, right? So 40 plus, sure, you can try it this way as well. If you want to try, this is 50 right over here, right? This is 50 and gives you the answer. Now this is, so because this is 50, right? This is 50, that gives you 40 right over here, right? And that gives you 70 right over here, right? Um, so the logic was 60 plus 50 is 110. Now 10 plus how much is 50? That gives you 40, right? 30 plus 40 is 70. Now, good part is that you know it's correct is because 40 plus 70 is 110, 60 plus 50 is 110. So you solved everything, right? So remember, they might give you a problem like this, like you just have to fill in the numbers. But here, now we've done this. Now we'll go to the probability part of it, right? This is the last section for today, right? By the way, just give me 1 second, guys. People in my boot camp, just 1 second. I'll just explain this system of the boot camp. So all of this you're gonna get, right? We include everything. The cost for the people who are in the boot camp, it's here for the first time. It's $95 one time. Okay, one-time fee of $95, and that's it. And you can attend the sessions. Usually 10 sessions are more than enough for you to attend, but if you want to attend again and again, free to attend, because every time we have slightly newer problems, right? We have slightly newer problems, and then you can also, in addition to these problems, you also get these quizzes, right? All of these quizzes you get. You also get all the SAT practice, important practice problems, and you don't have to attend everything, right? I'll give you the recordings for these sessions anyway, right? All of these sessions, the previous recordings for the past few weeks, so you don't have to attend everything. Just literally within 2 weeks, you can master all of the SAT topics, right? If you're really motivated, you can do it even in a week, right? I've got people like within like 5 days, they had 5 days for the test and they've taken this. All of the recordings are available. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. So all of this is for 95 bucks. I've posted the link over here. So let's move on, and then I'll send you a link again after the session is over so you can ask any questions, right? So with that, right, I think it's really worth it. You can get like easily, you can improve your score by 100 points. And without a doubt, you can improve your score by 100 points if you're, unless you're already at 720 or whatever, right? But that should, like, it's got a ton of material. Don't waste your time like looking at unnecessary problems. Okay, so with that, let's move on. Thanks people in my bootcamp for your for your patience. So let's look at this now. So now let's look at the real part. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this piece and let's talk about probability. Okay, so the probability piece is here. Let's say you are told what is the probability of, let's say you have 110 people, right, in the classroom maybe, or in a place, and out of that, what is the probability that out of 110 people, uh, you pick a girl. Okay, so out of 110 people, you pick a girl. You pick a girl. Okay, you pick a girl. Okay, that's it, girl. Okay, nothing about dogs, nothing about anybody. Okay, so remember, when the way you solve it is there's a denominator part and then there's a numerator part. Okay, the denominator part is always going to be out of the out of number, right? The out of number, which is 110 here, right? And I know we are almost 9:30. We're past 9:30. Just give me maybe 10 minutes, and we should be done with this session, right? Now the numerator part is going to be like you, like how many, like you, the girl that you, right? So it's going to be 50, right? So the answer is 5 over 11. Okay, super easy. And now out of 110, what is the probability, right? Like you, you survey someone, and then the person owns dogs. What is the probability out of 110? What is the probability the person owns dogs? So now again, out of, remember, it's out of 110, means out of everybody, a person picked at random, and the person owning dogs is right over here. So it's 40, right? One more. Out of 110, what is the person? What is the probability you pick one person? What is the probability that they are a boy who owns a dog? Who owns dogs? Okay, so now again, out of 110, still 110, right? The person who owns dogs is 30 here, so it's 30 over 110. That's 3 over 11, right? So these are super important, guys. This, once you master this, the like you easy like 40, 30, 40 points in your pocket, right? At least like 25 points, right? So this is good. So far we've done 110. Now comes the tricky pieces. Okay, now comes the important part. So out of girls, right? What is the probability that they don't own dogs? They do not own dogs. They do not own dogs. Okay, so out of girls. So what does it mean? First of all, you gotta, in the denominator, and this is the most confusing part, the denominator part. Okay, out of girls. Out of is an important number, or if out of so many girls. So how many girls are there total? There's only 50 girls. Okay, you can literally just scratch this and scratch this. Now it becomes super easy, right? Out of 50 girls, what is the probability that they don't own? So 40 is going to be the numerator, right? So 40 over 50, or the answer becomes 40 over 50 simplifies to 4 over 5, and that's your answer. Okay, so remember, the denominator is the most important part, then comes the numerator. Okay, perfect. And these, let's try maybe one or two problems of this type. Let's go here. Let's try an easier problem first. Yeah, why don't we try this problem? And then I'm gonna ask you certain other problems based off of this one. Okay, I'm just gonna ask you certain other problems, and then we can complete we can close the session right after that. What is the probability? So remember, if one of the surveyed graduates who passed the bar exam, remember, the person who already passed the bar exam is chosen at random. So in the denominator, go the graduates who actually passed the exam. Okay, if one of the surveyed who actually passed the bar exam is chosen at random. So how many people passed the bar exam? 25, right? This doesn't even matter, right? And out of these people, right, what is the probability that the person chosen did not take the review course? Took the review course is 18, did not take 75. So 25 over 7. Okay, so I know this part is super easy, right? This part is the one which is confusing. You might want to be tempted to add this. So we double check, triple check that, right? Triple check it, right? That's a good way to say it. Triple check that this denominator is your correct one, and they'll give you the rest assured, they'll give you the wrong one right over here. So this is incorrect. This is your answer. Okay, let's try this one more time. um, okay, let's try. So if I say, if you were said, if one of the surveyed candidates who um, if one of the surveyed candidates is chosen at random, right? This is not, they haven't even spoken about the bar exam. Then of course you're going to take the total. I'm assuming it's 200. Then you do 7 over 200. So super easy, right? Remember, the denominator is the one which is confusing. The numerator is super easy, right? One over. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. Um, Let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle here. Let's try one more of this type, okay? This is a slightly easier one. So let's try this one, and then I'll give you another problem to solve of the same type. So remember, probability is so easy. You just got to be careful. I've given you the shortcut, so think about it. Remember, the denominator is more important than anything. Okay, so try this one now. If the contest winner will be selected at random, done. Random means this guy. Okay, nothing is told to you. This is 25. Now, what is the probability that the winner will be either a female under 40? So female under 40 or male 40 or older. 40 or older. That means this one. Okay. So remember, what you got to do is so remember what the probability is yes, the probability is just this. It's the number of favorable outcomes over the total outcomes. So total outcomes means 25 people. There are 25 people. So all they're asking is how many people are either under 40 and female. There are 8. There are 8 of such women, and there are 2 people who are 40 or older, right? That's it. Just add them like this. You're never going to be asked to multiply anything. Okay, that's like independent probability, etc. Right, you never need to do that. You don't need the 11 and 14. You don't need anything of that. So be careful. I know some of you, this might be a new thing. The denominator here is just 25. Just find the, it's all like this: number of um, favorable outcomes and total number of outcomes. That's it. You don't need to multiply anything in those probability problems. Okay, so the answer is just going to be 10 over 25, and that's it. Okay, super easy. Okay, so let's try one more of this type. What is the probability that the winner will be either female or a male? um, Female will be either female um, under 40 or male over 40. What is the probability that female under 40 or male over 40? Sorry. That's what I was thinking. My bad. Female. Let me do it again. Okay. What is the probability that the winner will be not this one? Sorry about that. With the winner will be a female, only a female, or male under 40. So the total is 25. Just find out how many females are there and how many males under 40 are there. Very good, Devin. So how many females total? Total number of females, 11. Doesn't matter if they're under or over 40, right? Total number of females is 11. Be super careful. Number of females is 11. Okay, and males under 40 is over here, 12. Right? So it's going to be 23 over 25. Okay, and that's your answer. Okay, so you just need to be careful. I know you're excited to solve this problem, but take your time. All you need to do is just count them. Be very careful. Like I said, triple check it, right? This one. And then what else did they ask? Male under 40. Male under 40 is here. What is this guy? Over 40. No need for this. And boom, here you got it, right? So all of these numbers, 12 plus 11 over the total 25. Okay. Yeah, maybe I said something badly. Okay, so my bad. Female or male under 40. Yeah, the way I might have posed the question also might be a bit tricky. Right, might have another meaning or something. So, but I think you understand that this is what I meant, and as long as you understand it, that's very important, right? Great. So let's see if we can try one or two other problems, and then we'll be done with this session. This is good. All of these problems I think you can solve. Okay. This one again, the same type. Remember, whatever is asked. So can you please tell me here, what is the denominator here? One of the surgeons is selected at random. So the denominator is the most important one. Okay. So it just, one of the surgeons is selected at random. Easy. 607. Thank you. Thanks, guys. So it just 607 is going to be your denominator. Okay. And then you can easily calculate whatever numerator you need. Okay, with that, let's try one last problem here. This one is not as important. Let's see what we've got here. I think all of these are good. Okay, so all of these problems are good. Um, so once again, guys, don't forget to, for people in my bootcamp, don't forget this. This is like really breakthrough over here. I used to give it only for people in my one-on-one sessions, but this is completely for you, right? Very important questions are at the very start. Okay, you've got some other online work to do. If you need any drills, um, where's the drills? Don't forget the drills, right? If you're just starting out my sessions over here, right, some drills are going to be important. Okay, percentages, exponents, ratios, all of these IXL drills. Just tell me what, right, and as soon as you join the bootcamp, you get all of these, so you can practice them. This is so important, right? If you're having trouble, right, if you're like above, under like 650 or something, these will help you tons, right? How do you solve these? um, right? So these drills are all included, this quiz is included, and then great, people are actually solving it. So impressed. I'm super happy. And now we've got the new addition, right? Is the quotes. So the quotes are also going to be important. So practice them. I'm going to send you the link to the quotes sometime tomorrow morning. Okay. So, and once again, people who want to join the boot camp, you know where to go. You know what the deal is. Once you click on the link, right, you come over here, and then it's $95 one time. Just click over here and just ask your parents, right? If you think you can't afford it, I mean, parents love it. Parents can't believe it that they have to pay 95 bucks, and their kids are actually studying and attending sessions pretty much every second day. Also, remember, you don't need to kind of attend the sessions every time, right? I give you the previous recordings, I give you the recordings of all the sessions. So you just join and see how enjoyable it becomes, okay? And it's a great investment. So with that, we'll close the class. um, Remember, next time we're going to do word problems. Okay, we're going to do this particular piece. So this is also super important. I'm going to show you all of these recurring problems. Okay, so with that, I'll close the class. If you have any questions, let me know about the boot camp or any other particular aspect. But um, otherwise you're good. Okay, so wish you the best and have a good night. And I'll see you on Friday. All right, have a good night. Bye.